Hey there, internet friends. So today we are going to talk about how to read and properly disregard fake and gay news, along with the individuals who write it. Now, this is kind of an important topic because practicing discernment while consuming information actually forges the entire nature of your being. And on one hand, if you become too paranoid with your discernment, you will disregard real things, but if you're too lenient with your discernment, then every single thing you observe is just going to spin you helplessly around whatever vortex it's trying to summon inside you. So our example piece today is going to be one written by lisademorais, which my phone just casually recommended to me in one of its routine attempts to fill me with toxic bitterness and hatred. Well, guess what, phone? It worked. I'm mad now, you got me. Anyways, by the time we're done with this little lesson, hopefully you'll be able to read pathetic fake news such as this, which is actually like meta-recursive hyperbolic fake news, because it's extremely fake news about the fakeness of news, which in fairness we've seen a lot of lately. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to observe things like that in such a way that you have the opportunity to completely reject the petty hatred that it is trying to fill you with, instead seeking information from sources which are presenting you with real information. So let's jump right into the article so you can see what I'm talking about and then casually disregard everything this person ever writes again unless she manages to go through a process of character building or learns how to actually present people with information. So here it is. It's just a sec while I bring it up. Alright. So this is the article in question. I'm going to kind of dissect it off script, so you'll forgive me if I don't always know exactly what I'm trying to say here, but it's pretty easy to dissect. It's pretty easy to see how absolutely awful all of this is. Alright, so first things first, I don't care what you think about Donald Trump. This is about smear articles, alright? Smear articles are bullshit. It doesn't matter who they're smearing. It's about how they're smearing them, and you should take them as an indication of the author. You shouldn't take a smear article as an indication of the person being smeared. So obviously the first thing we do is we get a derpy picture of the person being smeared. You know, that's fake news 101, obviously. And you gotta look at the way language is manipulated. Even these quotations around everything here is something which causes you to it's just subconsciously saying like, oh, this is all absurd. This person that you hate, they cannot end the quote unquote fake news. They can't return peace. This is someone that you hate, and the whole point of this is hatred. The good old liberals are the party of love. Anyways, those lines, they're all stupid lines. It's not about party lines. It's about honesty and integrity and reporting. And I just want to say that like the whole point of this is that all of this, there's nothing substantial in this article whatsoever. This is all just clickbait to make you feel filled with hatred. And if you're consuming information like that, then you need to reevaluate why you're consuming that information, because that's just like, it's just a quick kick of like, oh yeah, that's the kind of hatred that I get off on. It doesn't actually have anything substantial whatsoever to it. It's just pettiness. Anyways, so we'll start by looking at the even the very first line here is well, it's horrifying, but it's a classic strategy which things such as this use to create bitterness, because it says man. Well, you see, they're using the tragedy of a mass shooting, and they're comparing that tragedy, and they're just interjecting that tragedy into a situation in which has nothing to do with it. All right. So Trump saying this quote up here has nothing to do with the tragedy of a terrorist murdering innocent people, but that's the framework of the article. The whole like core essence of the first words in the article are here to say, hey, he said this, but he said it after somebody murdered people. So it was insensitive of him to even think about this. Well, this was happening, but this tragedy has nothing to do with what he's saying. You're just interjecting this tragedy to create hatred and paranoia. And so that should reflect completely on the author and nothing on the person, on the victim of these smear campaigns. And like I said, this applies to all sorts of smear campaigns. And yeah, it's so obviously ironic, because this is all about like look, Trump's talking about them, the fake news dividing people, and this is the fake news dividing people. It's like, it's not even subtle, it's like too unfunny. It's just like, oh, he told his base, it's just like little language like that. It's just like, okay, it's not something that Trump just said. This isn't a quote from him. This is something that he only told to his vile, pathetic followers who you all hate. And you are validated in your hatred of this, and you come here to feed off of this hatred. And I'm sure like many liberals have observed conservatives also looking up hate-filled rhetoric about individuals, but that doesn't, this is exactly the same thing. This is insubstantial rhetoric which only serves to feed people hate, and it's vile and it's disgusting. It doesn't matter. Like, you can look up information with which to dislike Donald Trump, but this sort of information is not real information of which validates, disliking someone. This is all insubstantial, just bitterness. Anyways, so yeah, from the very beginning, it's just like, make him look funny, just like put quotes around just how absurd his demands are, like returning peace, ending the fake news, and just, yeah, never. And and then yeah, immediately just like, oh, he said it after this horrible tragedy, which it's just so disrespectful to just bring this tragedy somewhere that it doesn't belong. Like, him saying that has nothing to do with that tragedy. It's, I don't know, it's just disturbing, what is it? Even like stuff like this. It's just like, oh, he's saying the fake news is the enemy of the people. All right, but he said it after one of his supporters sent bombs to people, and it wasn't even one of his supporters. This was a radical terrorist act. This was an individual terrorist act which has been condemned. Obviously condemned by everybody who knows about it. But they're just like, no, but it's this painting of this evil bitterness that is trying to be projected onto people, and like you can't just consume this, and think that you're gaining real information. This is just, it's just the epitome of just pathetic clickbait, and the people who write stuff like this should be so ashamed of themselves. Like, how can you live with yourself making a career off of writing insubstantial, pathetic clickbait, which, markets tragedies to bring bitterness to unrelated situations? It's just pathetic. But yeah, I don't know. It's all pretty obvious. It's just like, okay, how do people look at something like this and feel that they are gaining information? It's 100% just feeding hatred. And like, the person who wrote this should be absolutely ashamed of herself, and she should not have a career, because this sort of shit it's absurd, and it doesn't matter who it is. This sort of arbitrary smearing of like comparisons that don't have logical what's the word? I don't know, they just aren't correlations that aren't logically related, just to create negativity is just, I don't know. It's pretty bad. It's pretty horrifying. Like, you can't just take a terrorist act, a terrorist tragedy, and say like that's somehow related to him talking about this other thing. Like, it's so obviously amusingly ironic. I don't know if it's true irony, but it's something similar. I mean, in spite of just being, they're just so vile. Like, I just can't picture how you have the mindset to say like, okay, well, I need people to hate each other so badly that I'm going to like bring in unrelated like tragedies as if that has something to do with the quote that I'm trying to get people to hate, Anyways, so that's the basic gist of it. You have to be discerning when you read anything, especially articles which are serve only the purpose of filling you with hatred and give you no other useful information. You should seek out real information. Don't seek out like feeding off of anger and feeding off of bitterness. It's just like it's a waste of your entire essence. Anyways, I'll talk to you later, dear viewer. I think that is all that I have for today. Yeah. Just watch out for the fake and gay news. You know, people, everybody knows it's fake, but like people are forgetting that it's also gay. You know, there's nothing wrong with the news being gay, but you know, it's worse that it's fake for sure. But just as an accurate descriptor, I feel like people should know that the news is fake and gay. All right, peace.